Hello, my name is Beverly Gerganis, and I am so glad to have you here in my studio. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to have you. And if you have been here before, I am glad that you decided to come back. We are going to do a really simple, easy, beautiful, and fun art project together. This piece is inspired by this trend of color blocking. I see people color blocking their walls to create a focal wall. I see clothing with color blocking on it. And so we're going to color block on paper. And then also Matisse. Those who are not familiar with Henri Matisse, he went through a period of his life, it was towards the end of his life, where he was bound to a wheelchair, so he couldn't paint like he normally would. So he began to work in collage. What he would do is he would paint paper, then he used scissors and cut out shapes and collage them together. So we're going to take a mix of that color blocking and simple shapes and create something that you are going to be proud of and you're going to want to hang up in your home. So let's get started. Okay, so you're going to need a pencil. Any pencil will do. You will need a watercolor brush. This is a size 12 round with a very nice tip. You're going to need a paper towel for blotting. Watercolors, mine is the Koi. Clean water. A permanent marker, this one's fine tip. Metallic gold paint, this one is Daniel Smith Iridescent Gold, or a metallic gold paint pen. You'll need a spray bottle to wet your watercolor paints. Watercolor paper, mine is a 6x9, and just regular copy paper. Here is an example of what we will be doing. This one is the first one. I'll be switching it up a little bit this time, but look at that gold, so gorgeous. And then this is the inspiration behind the colors I'm choosing today. Okay, so now let's sketch our shapes. I'm going to start with a circle. So I'm going to do a circle here. I'll go around several times making my circle, trying to get as close of an accurate circle as I can. And now under here, I'm going to do like a kidney shape. Move this out of my way. All right. And I'll just keep going over it and editing it until I'm happy with the shape. Okay. Now I'm going to use a kneaded eraser. You don't have to use a kneaded eraser. Any eraser will do. I just happen to have this one right here. Also, because it has a little stickiness to it, it picks up that pencil really well. So I'm just removing all the extra lines that I do not need. And then I'm doing the same thing with my other shape. Let me fix this area right here. And A little bit more. Now I'm trying to lift up as much of that pencil as I can, because when I start adding color, I will not be able to remove any of these pencil marks. So that's a good tip for you. Anytime you sketch before doing watercolor, just know that whatever lines are there when you start adding color, it won't be able to come off. So always sketch as light as possible, unless you want the pencil lines. Okay, so let's get ready to add color. I'm gonna wet my brush, get my paper towel. Oh, let's wet our paints. Can't forget to spray our paints. All right. Now I have a little bit of color already mixed. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of my light red and add that to my color. A little bit of quinacridone rose and some cadmium red. Wash my brush, and I'm going to pick up some water and I'm going to wet this shape with just the water. I'm going to get it completely covered with the water. That way I will be dropping the color right into wet. All right, let's start putting that color on there. Just moving that color around. I'm going to go ahead and mix up a little bit more color. And using those same three colors, light red, quinacridone rose, and cadmium red. Let's make that a little bit darker. Yep, that's lovely. Watercolor will dry a little lighter, so it's not going to be quite this dark. Okay, now we're going to start with the circle. I'm going to mix up some more of my cadmium red and some of this peachy color. I do not remember the exact name of this peach color, so I just call it peachy color. And let's add a little bit of my lemon yellow. There we go. More water, thin it out a little bit. And let's apply this to the circle. One thing you notice differently with this shape versus the previous one is I did not wet the shape first. I'm just going right in with the color. There we go. Now I am going to mix a little bit more color. I want my first shape to have a little bit more contrast against the circle.
So let's darken it up just a little bit. Okay, I think I want to warm my circle up a little bit more. So I'm going to grab some more of that lemon yellow. Just get a little more. There we go. Yes. Now I can see the warmth in that color. Very nice. Do a little touch up here. Okay, now we're going to set this aside and let it dry. Okay, so we're going to grab our copy paper. I folded mine in half so it would be closer to the size that we need. This is the one that I used on my previous practice sheet. So you can draw a shape that's similar to what Matisse uses by using these very curvy, organic shapes that resembles maybe a leaf. Very simple, very easy. Or you can create something like I did, which looks like a twig with leaves or a vine with leaves. So I drew like the main stem, and now I'm just adding the different shaped leaves, just keeping it a very simple shape. And I'm just going to continue this process down the stem. All right, in order to create a little bit of dimension, I want to add a few leaves going behind the front leaves. And then I'm going to take from my practice painting here, I have a couple more that I want to add that wasn't on the original sketch. And one more over here, kind of peeping up from this leaf. Okay, and there's our sketch. Okay, so at this point, it is a good time to take a break, let it dry, and then we'll come back and add the vine. All right, looks like our painting is dry. I noticed a little spot there, so I'm going to take a little bit of the water and use my brush to kind of work that water into that spot of paint. very gently, and then I'm going to blot it. All right, I'm going to take my pencil. I see a few lines that the watercolor didn't cover that I can clean up. Go all around. There. Nice. Now we're going to take our sketch that we did and we're going to transfer it onto our painting. So you can either use what's called graphite paper to transfer, or you can take your pencil and color the back to cover the area where your drawing is on the front, and then flip it over, place it where you want it to go. You can either tape it so it doesn't move, or you can hold it down. And then you're just going to start tracing over those pencil lines. I would probably bear down about medium strength. And you're just going to trace over the entire drawing and just continue until you're finished. Okay, there it is. I'm going to touch up a few areas with my pencil. You don't have to worry about your pencil lines at this point. There you go. Now I'm going to take my fine tip permanent marker and I'm just going to trace over all of the all of the drawings that I transferred over. So you do not have to worry about your pencil lines. That's the great thing about this permanent marker, is that once it dries, you can go back over it with an eraser and it will take the pencil marks away and not your marker lines. So once you finish getting this traced, then you can give that a clean up with your pencil eraser. All right, a little more coffee. There. Okay, so now we just need to start painting our vine. I'm going to start by painting the leaves gold, so you can use either or. If you're using the marker, this is what the marker would look like. Looks nice, but honestly, I prefer using the paint. So I have some already mixed right there. And I'm going to take my size 6 round, a little bit smaller, and I'm going to use this one to paint the leaves. So I'm going to get it wet, get some paint on there. And I'm going to paint these leaves. I'm not going to paint all of them. I just want to have a few of the leaves have a nice metallic gold. So I want to make sure I balance it out. All right, and then this one right here. Clean the brush off. Look at that shine. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, let's take our permanent marker and we're going to add a little detail to the leaves. So I'm going to put a little line in the center of the leaves, maybe a couple dots. And then I want to make it a little darker and a little bold right at the end of the leaf where it meets the stem. Give a little more weight to the leaves. All right, now I want to color in a few of the back leaves. This will also give a variation to the painting. And what I'm doing is I'm cross hatching. So I'm doing lines one direction, and then I turn the paper, and then I do the lines in a different direction so that they cross or intersect each other. And the more that you cross hatch over top of your leaf, the darker you will get. So if you just loosely do your cross hatching, then you will have like a shaded leaf, but it wouldn't be like a really dark value. But then if you keep going over it, then you get a darker and a darker value. And I'm gonna make the base of the stem just a little bit thicker. All right. Now I want to add one more coat of the metallic gold to my leaves so it's not quite as transparent. With watercolor, the more water you add, the thinner your layers would be. The less water, the thicker. And there you have it, your completed art piece.